There's a mist coming in, like something is brewing and about to begin. Oh, Mary Poppins, you never fail to make me happy. Okay, yeah, I played Bert when I was 19 years old. Get off my fucking back. This story right here, Mary Poppins, never fails to make me happy. And there's just so much nostalgia with this movie, not just personally, but just looking at this movie, which turned 60 years old in 2024, there is just so much happiness to be had with this. And I will go on record to saying this is one of my favorite Disney movies ever. Because I think it captures everything that Disney is all about in one word: magical. Every time you watch Mary Poppins, you go back and revisit it. You go ahead and you show it to your children. You go ahead and show it to your grandchildren down the line. Like, there is nothing that beats this magic right here. So the premise, as if you didn't already know by this point, follows two young children, Jane and Michael Banks. They're the children of wealthy, uptight parents. The mother is constantly out campaigning for women's rights, which is awesome to see. Rest in peace, Glynis Johns. But then you come across their workaholic father, played by David Tomlinson, who never really makes time for his children. So Jane and Michael have a revolving door of nannies, and when they're faced with the prospect of a new one, they are pleasantly surprised by the arrival of the magical Mary Poppins, who of course is played in this by Julie Andrews. And let me just say right now, Julie Andrews gives one of my favorite performances by a leading actress ever. Like, go back and watch this performance. It is so freaking clever how she's presented and how Julie Andrews plays this part. Because even though the kids write that cute little note and they sing that little song about what they see in their ideal nanny, George Banks wants someone a little bit more on the stern side to keep his kids in check. The fun thing is that even though Mary Poppins takes these kids on these great magical adventures and plays games of all sorts, she is very stern. And there's so many sequences where she's almost gaslighting these kids into thinking that these fantastical events didn't happen. This character is just an enigma. She's always keeping you guessing. And you can't help but want to keep watching Mary Poppins just to see what the heck she's gonna pull out of that magical bag of tricks. But anyway, like I said, the kids embark on so many fantastic adventures with Mary and her friend Bert, who's played by Dick Van Dyke. And listen, my Cockney accent probably wasn't the greatest at the top of this video either. And admittedly, I don't know. Those of you who know me personally and saw me all those years ago do Mary Poppins, yeah, I don't know if my Cockney accent was on point there. But let's just say that Dick Van Dyke's accent, yeah. Everybody makes fun of the accent. And look, if you can't see past the accent, I totally understand. But at the same time, just look at how much freaking energy this guy is putting into things. All the singing, all the dancing, it's just freaking happy overload. And this guy is a very charming, likable, and happy presence. One thing I've always loved about Bert is that every time you step across him, he's always having a different job. When you first meet him at the beginning of this movie, he's a traveling musician carrying this gigantic drum on his back. And then the next scene, he's a street artist. And then, of course, later on, you do see him in his most iconic getup, the chimney sweep. And that leads to probably my favorite song, Steppin' Time. Yeah, I may have a little bit bias right there, but I love that song. And every time you watch this movie, the dancing just keeps going and going. It's like when you go to a party and you just don't want it to end. And then when it does end, it is just such the perfect, funny note. And then you're watching it and you're like, oh wow, it's over. Whew, let me catch my breath then. The memorable moments in this movie and the Sherman Brothers' songs, there's way too many to count. It's all so freaking great. The sequence in the park where Bert is tap dancing with the penguins who are waiters. The horse race ending up in supercalifragilisticexpialidocious fashion. Wow, I said that word right. Of course, if you say it backwards, it would be Philip Creepus. You lost me. I couldn't do it. It just feels like in Mary Poppins, there is something for everybody to enjoy. That's why I feel like this is the perfect Disney movie. Because it's got those cute little whimsical moments for the children where they're stuck in these fantasy lands and it's all animated. Which, by the way, I was worried when I was rewatching this that whole Jolly Holiday sequence would look a little bit dated. But the 2D animation flowing together with Julie Andrews and Dick Van Dyke, it's just, it's so good. I mean, how could I forget Julie Andrews' iconic singing voice as well? Like, that Spoonful of Sugar song soothes your soul, man. You want to talk about soothing songs? Let's talk about Walt Disney's favorite song that he's ever heard and his favorite song that he's ever had in one of his movies, feed the birds. And it's such a simple message, but the orchestrations and the lyrics, it just makes you want to tear up, man. And when that song comes back towards the end, as George Banks is walking to his job in the dead of night with nobody out in the streets, and he walks past the spot where the Bert lady was sitting and she's not there, and the whole choir swells up. I know there's a theory going around that the Bird lady might have died. I mean, I buy that theory, man. I know Disney can't outright say, oh, this character died, so that's why you don't see her. But the little subtle hints that they throw in there, the choir that's singing over the Feed the Birds tune, like, it just sounds like something you'd hear at a wake. And that whole sequence of George Banks walking to his job in the dead of night, the shot composition and the cinematography and the lighting and the music behind it, like, you just feel so sorry for this character who has worked his entire life grinding at that grindstone. And he's going back there about to lose everything. But it just makes you tear up so much more once you see him go back home and he's so happy to see his kids. And yeah, it might be a message that's beating you over the head, but God, it's just so good the way it's presented. And it's a very bittersweet ending. It is a very bittersweet exit for Mary Poppins while George Banks is flying a kite with his children. Everything about this Mary Poppins story just, like, it's absolutely perfect. And I know the legend is that P.L. Travers did not like this movie when it came out, as it was addressed in Saving Mr. Banks, or contradicted by Saving Mr. Banks. But I don't know. I feel like with this story, as it sits, like, Mary Poppins is just the gift that keeps on giving, guys. And I hate to sound like a broken record when I use that term, the gift that keeps on giving, when I talk about my favorite movies of all time. But the thing with Mary Poppins is that every time you go back and revisit it, it's like you're always discovering things about it. It's like you're watching it for the very first time, makes you feel like a kid again, and it does everything that a movie is supposed to do, make you forget about the outside world, while also having a perfect blend of funny moments, great family moments, the cutesy moments, the dramatic moments, the tender moments. This is a movie that has everything. In case you haven't guessed by this point, Mary Poppins gets an A+. Happy 60, Mary Poppins. Here's to immortality. Chim chim cheree indeed. But let me know what you guys think of Mary Poppins. Let me know if you guys have any memories watching Mary Poppins growing up. I'm also curious, has anyone else ever done the stage show before? If my fellow cast members and crew members from 2016 happen to watch this, what's up, guys? Shout out to all of you. Hit that subscribe button if you're new to the channel. Hit that thumbs up. Thank you guys so very much for bearing with me in my schedule at the beginning of 2024 in terms of getting this content out to you guys. But trust me, especially through the weekend, you're not going to want to miss a new upload. So with all that being said, guys, back talk, commence. And step in time! Step in time!